Paul Atreides spends most of Dune trapped between terrible futures. The strange thing is, the more he understands it, the less free he becomes. When people talk about Dune, they usually focus on power, politics, the awesome giant sandworms. But Dune also explores something internal. Depression. Or at least the feeling of becoming mentally trapped inside your own thoughts. Occasionally, and lately, I notice something about my own life. The more time I spend online thinking about the future, comparing myself to other people, worrying about money, purpose, success, failure, AI, careers, content creation, all of it, the harder it becomes to move at all. Everything starts feeling predetermined, like every path already ends badly before you even take the first step. And that's what Paul starts experiencing in Dune. Paul gains the power to see possible futures. At first, that sounds like a gift, but it slowly becomes a prison. He sees wars before they happen, death before it happens, consequences before choices are even made. And eventually, he becomes trapped by his own awareness. And I think a lot of people live like that now. We consume so much information that we lose the ability to act naturally. Every decision becomes loaded with invisible futures. Like, what job should I choose? What if AI replaces that job? Should I make YouTube videos? Should I make videos on other platforms? But what if nobody watches those videos? What if they do watch? What if I become trapped by that niche, trapped by my audience? What if I fail? And it was just a waste of time. What if I succeed and still feel empty? That last one scares me. Because depression isn't always sadness. Sometimes it feels more like exhaustion and carrying too many possible futures in your head at once. And modern life does not help with that. Modern life feeds that constantly. Algorithms feed you all kinds of stuff. It feeds you everybody's success. Social media feeds comparison. The news feeds you catastrophe. And then your own brain fills in the rest. In Dune, spice expands awareness. But also, it creates dependency. The characters become addicted to spice. They get addicted to seeing more, knowing more, understanding more. And honestly, I think modern life has its own version of spice. Constant stimulation, constant distraction, constant information. Videos, porn, scrolling, predictions about the future. And it's not for any... there's lots of reasons, and it's not because we're lazy or anything like that. It's because for a few minutes, it quiets the noise. But eventually you come back to yourself again. Back to this mental desert. I don't think Frank Herbert wrote Dune as a story about depression. That's not what I'm saying here. But I do think he understood something dangerous about human beings. Knowledge without grounding starts to consume you. Awareness without direction becomes paralysis. And eventually you stop living in the present entirely. You start living inside imagined futures. There's a moment in Dune where Paul realizes seeing the future doesn't free him. It traps him. And I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Maybe being human isn't about predicting every possible outcome. Maybe it's about moving forward, even when you can't see clearly. Even in the middle of the desert. Because even when your mind feels like a desert, with no clear direction, movement still matters. It doesn't promise relief. It does not claim that the desert disappears. It suggests you can still walk inside it.